Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the fact that Ethereum has just reclaimed the 200-week simple moving average, with the closing price pretty significantly above this moving average just coming in here a few hours ago. So if you're new to the channel and you want to show some support, please do leave a like and subscribe. So we have just closed the weekly above the 200-week average. Currently, the 200-week average is at around $1,220, and the closing price of this weekly candle was around $1,350. So obviously quite far above this moving average. And really, this is a pretty bullish sign to me, because what it looks like here is a big deviation below this moving average. And the 200-week average is historically a very important indicator when looking at some of these cryptocurrencies. Most notably, we can look towards Bitcoin and see how the 200-week average has actually served as the bottom during the bear market. So we have these bottoms here off the 200-week average back in 2015, bottoms in 2018 and 2019, as well as this March 2020 retest. And basically what we have for Ethereum is a reclaim of this 200-week simple moving average. And ultimately, to me, this is starting to look like a deviation where the bears were really unable to flip this into resistance, and we might be seeing this as a potential catalyst for some sort of relief and recovery bounce back up to, say, $1,700 to $2,000. So I think that is definitely in the cards going into the next few weeks, how Ethereum could be potentially making a move all the way back up to that. Now, I do want to note that we don't have too much of a confirmation yet. We would like to see this next candle open and close above the 200-week average. Currently, we do have the open, but we're going to have to wait 1 week until we see the closing price. If we start to close back below this, then most likely it's just a little bit premature. We have to wait a little bit longer for this to play out. But if we're starting to hold this as support on the weekly time frame, that is, to me, going to be very, very bullish, because ultimately this is going to be kind of this failed bear breakdown and this deviation. And I think a good case study of this is when we had basically this all-time high back in November, where we had this level here, this defined level, this all-time high back in May at around $4,400. And then we had this move, this deviation above. So really, it's the same thing as this move above, as like the deviation above this high, this all-time high, is sort of the same thing, where it was supposed to go off to new all-time highs. It was supposed to go into price discovery mode. It was supposed to be bullish. But when we broke below and started closing below it, that turned into a sign that this was bearish, because it was deviating above, coming back below, and it ultimately didn't hold as support. So again, this could be a similar thing on the reverse, on the downside, where we might have just this very defined level at the 200-week simple moving average. The bears were unable to flip this into any sort of resistance. We've reclaimed it, and this could potentially lead us to some sort of recovery and relief bounce. Now, I think in general, Ethereum and Bitcoin have some sort of quality where they actually can drag the market up with them. So potentially what we might have here is with Ethereum being able to drag the rest of the market back above the 200-week average. So for most notably Bitcoin, there could be some sort of foreshadowing here for Bitcoin to start reclaiming its own 200-week simple moving average, which today is at $22,700. Now, if you see this happen, that's a little bit more on the confirmation side of things. And if we can get that for Bitcoin, that would be ultimately a lot more bullish, because Bitcoin itself is actually holding resistance off this moving average in the short term. So we would like to see that flipped and reclaimed, and ultimately have a deviation for Bitcoin below this average as well. And you can see a similar thing, again, repeating this just as a case study. We had the all-time high around $65,000. And then we had this deviation above it. So it's a very powerful signal when you have something like this play out, both for the bull and the bear case, when you have a key level that was just unable to be reclaimed and flipped. So overall, I do think this is a positive sign for Ethereum, and further confirmation with weekly closes becoming above this is going to be a lot more positive, and ultimately would add to the probability that we might have some sort of low in place for at least the next few months. So that's the end of my analysis on Ethereum. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you have any comments, suggestions, or feedback, please do leave those below. And as always, I will see you in the next one.